Clay, hey, thanks, man, for getting with me again today. So we've got this flow class coming up, and I think that a lot of people kind of, they do their thing every day, and it's kind of working for them okay-ish, but maybe they don't really necessarily get why being in the flow and controlling that state and being able to do it on a day-to-day basis might be so important to them. So, like, how can we simplify it? How can we just help them understand, like, this is life changing stuff, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep it simple. I got all kinds of things jumping in my head, like ways my life has changed, ways my clients' lives have changed. And the tricky part of that, Matt, is everybody's different. We talked a lot about
Yeah.
Casey, an accountant. I'm betting that there's a very small percentage of people in your audience or my audience or in the heck in the world that like accounting. So
Mm,
it's hard to
yeah.
relate. What Looking at you, you're a business owner. You have multiple clients with multiple goals and multiple ways. You have a incredible wealth or array of offerings and ways you serve different clients in different ways. What are
Hmm.
you excited about? How what's what are you fired up about when we from our conversations about flow and what it can do for you? What are
Yeah.
you excited about?
Oh, that's a great question. Because exactly to your point, there's a lot going on. I mean, a good business, family, multiple clients. So it's not only, looking at my own business and what I'm doing, but helping other people with their businesses and the strategies and just knowing what's going on. So there's a lot that I'm regularly taking in and processing and dealing with and balancing and all that. So, and so I've had some success in finding good times and structures and habits and routines and all that have really helped me throughout the years. But I really want to take it to the next level because I want to be able to do everything that I can with the time that I have, and and,
Mm.
and whatever that max. I want to find my maximum potential. I know I'm nowhere near that yet, and so I want to find that maximum potential, and part of that is being able to focus, be in the zone, and be able to just reach that highest state of productivity, of processing power, of just kind of being, just being on top of my game, because for me, and we've talked about this before, I time is our most precious commodity, something that you can't get more of. I mean, you can kind of maybe extend your life a little bit by, living healthy and whatnot. But I mean, in all reality, like,
We don't
you,
know.
you, you don't really know. I mean, you could
Yeah.
also go tomorrow.
Yep.
So there's so much in life that we miss because we're too busy overthinking things, or we're too busy being overwhelmed by things, or we're too busy being depressed or anxious or distracted, or so,
Man,
man, the focused time,
it's
so
funny.
that
You just
all the rest of it, all the I can free up so much and do much bigger impact with the time that I guess. And
you
that,
you just you just bumped into the challenge with talking about this.
yeah.
And it's hilarious because we start with I want to perform at my best. And I
Sure,
love how
sure,
you use
yeah.
the word so use the word maximum. Just so we're on the same page and everybody out there is on the same page. I am not one of these maximum performance pushers because in
Sure,
my
sure.
mind, unless it kills you, you haven't hit the max. So I'm not here
Right,
to
right.
kill anybody. I'm not here.
A
Nobody
survivable
dies with
maximum. Like with it right at that edge where, like, I'm about to die, but I don't, and I survive and I live
Okay,
long
wait. Now
and
you got to remember, you're
wait.
talking to a guy that got hit by a deer going 85 miles an hour on a motorcycle. Let's ease up, all right?
All right, all right,
Let's
yeah,
not
yeah.
like I kind of
But
want to
so
stay.
you were there. You were right there at the cusp, right? I mean,
I
yeah,
was, and then like we were just talking a few minutes ago about mountain biking. It's like I'm in Arizona. There's some crazy rocks out here, man. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's maximum performance. There's performance in a task. There's it could be anything from like my favorite example client, Casey, the accountant, to copywriting, to painting. Like one of my favorite
Yeah.
examples to talk about is Starry Night. If you've never actually
Mm.
laid your eyes on that painting, it like moves in front of you. I'm not kidding. There's optical illusions that can do it on the internet and with video, but when you look at that painting in real life, that man's brush strokes and the way that he made that painting were so, there's nothing like it on the planet. There's this
Mm-hmm.
one painting, maybe a couple others where he kind of tapped it, but that one was his freaking peak.
Yeah.
And there is no question, boy was in flow. Now, why was he in flow and how and all that? That's a whole nother question. Was it who am I thinking? It's not Michelangelo. It's Van Gogh, right? Starry Night,
Yeah.
Van
Yeah.
Gogh.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's performing in a task. But then you opened up the can of worms, man. You opened it up where you realize it's not necessarily the task, but it's the worrying about the task.
Mm-hmm.
It's after the task, wondering if it was enough. So it's not just during the task that we're talking about when we talk about conscious flow control.
Yeah.
We're going to build a launch and a landing routine for that task. In my life, for example, what that's done for me, uh, about a decade ago, I was an employee my whole life. And about a decade ago, I drew a line and I said, no more. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm sure you've had some experience with some new business owners where they tend to do more than it takes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I felt like I felt like there were fires everywhere and I was never able to put them all out. And it was just go, 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 go. But the reality was the actual going, the actual movement was happening only a fraction of the time. It was me worrying about the fire or me stressing the fire and decision making, choosing which fire to squirt the water on, if you will, which task is the highest priority. So a minute ago we were talking about painting Starry Night by Van Gogh, and that action, that activity, he was in flow. Well, how many times do you control your flow state and go into flow when you're doing a planning session?
Sure.
Right? Like deciding what you're going to work on this week, deciding what you're going to work on
Mm-hmm.
today. The planning session, you need to be in flow.
Well, yeah. I
Otherwise,
mean,
yeah,
yeah. Otherwise, it takes a lot longer, because you're not processing or thinking. You're getting caught up in the emotions of it, the overwhelm of the, yeah. So
all that stuff.
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So the best example I have for that is Dylan.
Yeah.
Dylan is the Mac Whisperer. You can look him up. He's on my testimonials pages. I think anyway, I've got him all over the place. I love one of his stories. We were talking one day after working together for a couple years, and he realized the drastic change in his life. When we first met, he was working 6 and 7 days a week, 12 to like 15, 16 hours a day. And he was working primarily on one task, one business, his Mac Whisperer or his IT support business, IT training business. He's the Mac Whisperer. I call him the Mac Whisperer to the stars. He works in LA. He's every once in a while I'll get a really cool photo, a really cool selfie with him talking to somebody I've seen on TV shows or movies or whatever, and he'll send it to me and
Sure.
mess with me a little
Sure.
bit
Yeah.
because he's sitting there teaching he's helping them decide which MacBook to buy or which iPad or how to integrate this with their house or whatever they're doing. Great dude, but he was driving all over LA and he was busting his tail a lot. He loved what he was doing. He'd built his business up to a substantial revenue as well, had a couple employees or contractors doing the jobs as well. Um, Over the course of working with me and understanding flow control, he was able to de-escalate the anxiety that he had so that he could better plan and prepare. As he did that, he was able to then reprioritize what tasks he was doing. End
Mm,
result, long story, like I said, it was probably a couple years when he's like, dude, I just realized this week when I was doing my weekly planning. I'm only working 3 days this week on that business. Let's call it business A. So he went from 6 and 7, 12 to 15, 16-hour days to
mhm.
3 days a week. He still worked like 7 to 10 hours. He loved what he was doing. He loved his customers. So, but he's only doing it for 3 days. What the heck was he? And, oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Revenue, it actually went up a little bit.
Mm.
So, so that while
So
revenue was important, the time part was what he really took away from
wow.
working
So
conscious flow.
by working with the, staying in the zone, getting in the zone, and being able to control that, being in the flow, he was able to reduce how many hours he was working on his business, and yet still increase his revenue. So he's able to get more with less time, as we were kind of saying before. Wow. Yeah.
That's
And
exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
I got. There's so many more things that he chose to put his time toward, but there's something I, I we, there's this little subtle thing that people are going to learn. You're going to learn it as we're going through more, and I can
Hmm.
only describe it. It's not just being in flow when you're doing a task. That's part of it, but it's awareness when you're not doing the tasks and managing your flow level appropriately. Maybe you're doing another task and you need to be in deeper flow. Maybe you're doing another task and you need to be in less flow. Or maybe you're just taking an hour off or meditating. It's conscious flow control. Managing your internal flow is internal. Flow
Hmm.
is what's going on. It's
Yeah.
not, it's they haven't, I'm honestly shocked they haven't got a device yet that measures your
Mm.
flow state. I'm kind of working on it with one of my clients. He's a neuroscientist, but that's another topic. But yeah,
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, and so if somebody is kind of tired of feeling like they're not getting enough with the time they've got, if they feel like they're running all around and they feel like maybe they're distracted, flipping through their phone, maybe it's taking too long to make decisions, maybe it's taking longer than they'd like to do copy or to even I guess help somebody in IT, right? Trying to solve those complex problems like what you would see in the technical world. I mean, pretty much that whole gambit of people who they know that they could operate at a higher level, but they're just not there yet, and they
it's
know that operating at that level would change their life. Yeah, I mean, it makes it worth it, right?
I started to talk about me a little bit and the difference between my life now and my life then, and it's so different. Um,
Hmm.
when I first started, it was just this idea of how helping people perform better. And I slowly
Yeah.
realized that it's not just helping somebody perform better on a task. It's about that whole day,
Mm.
which turns into a week, which turns into a
Hmm.
month, which turns into a lifetime. And so it's if you're not aware of where you're spending your energy, then you're unconsciously exerting energy. If you could stop unconsciously exerting that energy,
Mm.
then you're aware and you're like, okay, yesterday, I'm exaggerating. If we looked at my life a decade ago and my life today, yesterday and all, let's go to week. Last week, I literally had meetings 6 days last week. No,
Mm.
I'm sorry, 7. I apologize. There was 7 days last. This is 10 years ago, 8 years ago. I would work 7 days a week. I would take meetings anytime I could get meetings. I would take meetings in the afternoons, later afternoons. I'm not on my game in the afternoons. I'm a morning and early afternoon person. I would
Yeah.
take a meeting. I would be doing anything and everything I could. I would be trying to learn how to do accounting. I would be worried about copy. I would be taking online courses to learn how to use ClickFunnels better or what. I'm just going like nobody's business trying to build my business. Today, I realize that the energy that I expend like that, it's not productive. I
Mm.
gotta I gotta grab that energy. And now today, 4 days a week, I'll have a few meetings in the morning and maybe in the early afternoon. But there's a time when I stop working and I start playing. That might mean go wash my truck. That might mean go wash my bike. That might mean go for a bike ride. It might be, I don't know, go watch a movie. I haven't been to a movie theater in a long time now.
Been a while,
But
probably.
it's literally consciously managing your energy in not every moment of your day, but in blocks. That's
Hmm.
what we're going to go to. That's what you're eventually going to be able to do with conscious flow control. And the numbers are incredible when you start talking about productivity, the 500x. Some CEOs and board directors, that level, the work they do, they calculate that they're doing 500 times more. They're 500 times more effective by
Wow.
consciously managing flow.
That's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
Well,
it's
uh, yeah, I mean, it is life changing. Absolutely. So
I'm so
I
excited.
really look forward to the it coming up here soon. On the 16th of April is when it's starting, this round, and really looking forward to it and working with you. And the reason we're doing these videos too is to let other people, like, there is an application, there's an application process, but but it is there for you to do as well. Like, we're only taking, a couple more people possibly, but it's going to be a very
Three
small
maybe.
group. Yeah. So it's going to be a very small group. Um, but that means that you're going to get a lot more out of it, a lot more attention, and I mean, it's going to be something that will, I think, change your life if you take it, run with it, and do it. But it's a 12-week process, and so it'll be hard for you to get away and not get something out of it. That'll
I've
make it
got
way worth it.
Matt, you're right. I've got it's funny, most people end up going through this course at least 2 or 3 times as
Mm.
well. They end up like it makes such a huge difference. And they only so a couple things. One, the training that we're about to do is live and in person. It's not recorded. I'm not gonna force you to interpret what I'm saying. I'm gonna be there. You're gonna be asking questions of me. You're gonna be interacting with me, and we're gonna get your flow launch and landing, and your understanding of conscious flow control is the goal. You understanding what to do, you integrating it into your day. By the end of the 12 weeks, everybody will have at least one flow work session a day. Most people are up to 3 to 4, and that's. But I got to warn you, that's very aggressive in 3
Right,
months.
right, yeah, yeah.
Um, the Let me be careful here. 3 to 4 conscious flow sessions is aggressive. I guarantee that everybody watching this today is already doing half a dozen to 10 flow sessions unconsciously. So the question
Yeah.
becomes, where are you exerting that energy that you don't need to be? How can you better use that energy?
Mm.
Um,
Mhm.
the other thing I think I'm doing for your guys, Matt, is I want to invite more. I want to invite your group, your crew. You've been telling me about some of the people that you work with, and I'm like, ooh, that guy sounds exciting. I want to meet that owner. Um, and we did the live training a few weeks ago, and I was thrilled to see all those guys and ladies. Um, so week one, what I would like to do is I'd like to offer week one as a trial.
Mm.
So get the application done, right? Go to the website, fill out the application. On Monday the 12th, I will be sending out invitations. If you are working with Matt, or if you are otherwise coming and talking to me or interacting with this video in any way, shape, or form, don't stress the payment up front. We're gonna talk about payment and all that stuff after week 1. Does that make sense, Matt? Was that clear?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
week
absolutely.
1, to make sure, because when I meet a client, when I meet somebody, like when we first met Matt, you might remember me saying it. I take significant amount of time to make sure we work together effectively. I
Yeah.
don't want
Yeah.
anybody doing this if it's not working for them.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, yeah. Well, yeah. So I don't think I can stress that enough. Like, sometimes we think, oh, it's going to cost more than I can do or more than I can bear. But something like this, I mean, when I work with clients, it's kind of the same thing. And that's why it's so important to understand an investment into yourself, an investment into your business, an investment into life. This is an investment for your family. This is an investment for your employees or future employees. It, it we figure it out. Like, we'll get together and we'll figure it out what the best options are. But the longer you wait, the more time you waste, with this sort of thing. And you have to kind of ask yourself, like, okay, when is enough going to finally be enough? When are you going to finally take some action? And when are you going to finally make the changes that you want to make? Because, again, I mean, you don't know what the future holds. And I'm not trying to be fear mongering here, but I'm just the reality of life. Like,
It cracks me up,
you have
man.
to you have to take you have to take some action. You know.
Um, Listening to the still small voice, or listening to the signs from the universe. Um, I don't believe in. I don't believe that things just happen.
Yeah.
If you're someone right now watching this video, it's fine. If you're
Yeah.
someone that's met Matt and I met Matt, and here we are talking about flow control, and you've never heard of flow control before, you're here for a reason.
Yeah.
Um, the numbers are 1 in 10. The number of people that do it, that succeed in business or succeed in hitting their goals, is somewhere around 1 in 10, somewhere around 10%, less, depending on what parameters you filter. And what it 100% comes down to is the action.
Hmm.
It's like, what
Yeah.
action are you going to put out there? What energy are you going to put out to cause the world to change, to cause the reaction to come back?
Yeah.
Um, I'm
Yeah.
ecstatic. I'm thrilled to death to be alive right now, when so many people. One of the things, I met a guy yesterday, and he told me the name of his website. He bought a domain, and the next thing out of his mouth, it hurt my feelings. It was like, it's an incredible domain. Like, I'm just like, I want that. That's amazing. And the next thing out of his mouth was, but I haven't done anything with it yet.
Right.
And
Right.
I immediately said, if all you we're in a world where you can create a social media account, and all you need to talk about is brands of toilet paper,
Yeah.
and you can make money.
It's true. It's so true.
We're
Yeah.
so blessed. We are
Yeah.
so blessed to be alive today. I'm
Yeah.
so thankful.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
it just takes some action. So follow the links that we have here. Check out, there's a little bit more information on Clay's website. But just, take that. There's no risk. You're going to come to the first day. You fill out the application. If Clay's like, yeah, I think this is a good time for you to, I think it's going to be a good fit, then he'll reach out on Monday. And then, if not, then maybe it's just, he'll let you know, like, maybe what a good step is to at least kind of get,
one way or another.
one way or the other. He's not going to leave you hanging. It just might be that maybe maybe there's some other steps to take before we get there, right? But but if if you're ready if you are ready, and all you got to do is just come on Friday, April 16th, and just check it out and see if it's going to be for you, and then Clay will work with you on the numbers and how what the investment might look like and what kind of plan you can. We'll figure it out, but just
Matt
take
just
action.
Matt, you just told me about different ways that people can pay for things that I had no clue
Oh yeah,
about.
yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
PayPal
it's like,
credit. Yeah, I mean, you can get 6 months 0 interest with PayPal credit, and Clay accepts PayPal. So, I mean, there's a million ways to do it. Um, Clay
so we,
also likes trucks, obviously. So, if you just want to give him, I mean, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
yeah, I'm proud. I'm proud of. I'm not really a big truck guy. I'm proud of my truck because of what it
Oh,
does.
there's
But
more motorcycles. Okay. Anyway, but no,
motorcycle.
no, it's not going to
Um,
cost a truck or a motorcycle at all. But
should we tell people what to expect on Friday a little bit? Would you like a little
um,
preview?
uh, yeah. Can you give him like the 5 minute cliff note? Five
So
minutes.
Friday is class number one.
Okay.
So we're going to further define what flow is. We're going
Mm-hmm.
to talk intimately about what's going on in your brain, what's going on in your
Mm-hmm.
body, a little bit of the chemicals involved.
Yeah.
Then we're going to talk about the triggers to flow. Now, depending
Mm-hmm.
on what resource you use, there's different numbers. I think the biggest
Yeah.
number I've seen so far is 22. There's 22 triggers to flow. But
Wow.
then there was 17, then there was 13, and there's another one where there's 4 triggers to flow. So it kind of all depends on how you break it up and how you relate to it. But we'll talk about the triggers.
Yeah. Yeah.
But most importantly, we're going to talk about the stages of flow.
Mm.
Conscious awareness of when you're in which stage is what matters. And that's the first batch of exercise that we really got to get into. The first few weeks of the flow control class are focused on understanding the 4 stages. The 4 stages are struggle, release, flow state, and recovery.
Mm.
Everybody's different. Okay. So I want to say that
Mm-hmm.
off the
Mm-hmm.
top. Everybody's different. And I'm rushing this for 5 minutes. Here we go. Most people, however, don't have any problem getting into flow because you're building your business. You're passionate about this thing. It's important. So getting into flow, so that's struggle, release, and flow state. I guarantee you already have processes in place in some way that get
Mm-hmm.
you to flow. First few weeks, we're going to focus on recovery because I also guarantee, or most, at least 95%, at least 95% of the people watching this video do not have a sufficient recovery process for
Mm-hmm.
the next flow station, the next flow stage.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is basically we're all burning ourselves out. If you're not consciously managing your flow state, you're basically setting yourself up for a burnout point in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
And that's real.
Yeah.
That's body shutdown. That's over. You're not eating right. You gain weight,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe you don't eat enough. Right, the other way. The stress and anxiety. Click. Go on Google. Click. Is stress and anxiety good for you? There's plenty of evidence out there that talk about how it's not.
Yeah.
But yet, what I just described, which I promise you're probably due, the odds are you might be that exception, okay? But the odds are you are unconsciously going through a struggle phase, going through a release phase, and getting into flow. And
Mm-hmm.
then, Matt, I guarantee you suffer from this. I have too. You start working on something, and then it's time to stop, but you just want to keep going.
Or it just keeps haunting you. Like if you have to stop, it's still processing there in the brain, still taking energy, still and all that.
Stay with the keep working part.
Yeah.
Do you
Okay.
remember ever doing that? Like the haunting
Oh, of
part, we
course.
talked about
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's like I did it yesterday on the mountain bike ride.
Yeah.
There was this shorter trail that I could have taken out, And I always know that if I take a short trail, I get to a point where I'm like, dang it, I could have gone a little more. I could have done a little more. But then I take the long trail and I'm like, why did I do that to myself? That's the same thing we do with freaking work. That's the same thing we do with our relationships. And that's that place that we're going to really focus in and really start on. Struggle release, flow state, and learning how to use recovery. The
Mm-hmm.
recovery phase is so important.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the
Just from,
basics.
no, I mean, man, as I've told you before, we've done a little bit of pre-work, you and I, and I'm very appreciative of that. Even just a little, that you've on recovery helped immensely. So this is going to be big. This is going to be big. So I'm really excited about it. So thanks again. I appreciate it. I appreciate you digging into this a lot more and helping people to understand it. Because I want to collaborate with you on this because I know so many people need it. And I mean it. We lose so much time in life, so much energy in life because we really don't necessarily know how to manage ourselves and our states of consciousness and how we process things. And so this is life changing. I can't say it enough. And I know I've said it probably 4 or 5 times now, but again, life changing stuff. Not even kidding. We need
I
you just need to do this.
Matt, I hate it. I hate overselling something. I
Oh yeah,
hate, I hate, I really, really dislike when somebody says you gotta have it, you need it. It drives me crazy. But on the exact other end of that spectrum, some of the greatest joys in my life have been my clients. And if you go look at
yeah,
the testimonials page,
yeah.
Trevor's got a recording. He said something to me one day, and I was like, wait, hit record. What did you say? And he said it again, and it hits my heart. He's like, you're for real. This Every time I get off of a call with you, I think how much difference this is going to make in my life. And it was just,
Yeah,
so I love those
yeah,
moments when, Matt, I'm glad you get it. I'm glad
yeah.
you see it. It's amazing.
All
Thank you for
right. Well,
having me,
thanks
Matt.
again.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.